welcome to this week's Parenting in My Pocket live Q&A, where we answer your questions every single week and interact with people, which is fantastic as well. So looking forward to chatting to all you guys today. It's been a good week, been tipping away at things, getting things done, making some plans, lots of talks coming up as well, which is going to be really interesting. Hopefully we should have a free talk coming up. I think we've got a date towards the end of February, so we'll let you all know. You'll all be able to sign up and come along for free. It'll be an evening time here in Ireland and the UK, and it's going to be run through My London Voice. So as I say, when we've more information on that, we'll get it out to you, but it will be looking at some interesting tips and techniques and discussion points as well. So it should be fun. I enjoy doing the live stuff and the Q&As and presentations as well. So that should be a bit of fun. We have extended our deal for our online courses, so you can still pick up a bundle or grab one of the live courses for a steal, really. So head on over, have a look and see if there's anything there that you might like. Head over to teachable.com/help me to parent, or head on over to our website and follow the link to that. Apart from that, working away on the book. If I want to reassure my editor that I am working away on the book, and don't worry, book number 2 will be out definitely this year, definitely before the end of the summer, definitely. But yeah, apart from that, taking along. Got some really interesting feedback from people on our last podcast with Mary, and they really seem to enjoy that, and also the motivation interview with Mary as well. So for those of you who haven't checked out Mary's motivation interview podcast, please do. She is wonderful and she did a fantastic job, and the feedback we're getting from people is that they really enjoyed it. They felt they made a connection with her as well, and her story really resonated with a lot of people who, I suppose, maybe started out life, had big plans, and then had to put them on the back burner when children came along. Sorry, Mary, apologies for coming along and messing it up. But how that gave her the space to reevaluate things and then find what she actually wanted to do, and has become hugely successful in. So coming to that bit later. So it's really, really important. Evening, Jennifer. Hope you are keeping well. I am very good. So we've 2 questions today. First one. I keep reading articles and seeing experts talking about how children's mental health is going to be really damaged by the pandemic and the impact it is having on their schooling and interactions with their friends. This is causing me a huge amount of anxiety. Myself and my partner are both working from home and trying to organise the homeschooling between us, but it can be really challenging at times. Both of our children have been spending a lot of time on their consoles and devices in their rooms when we've been working and getting the dinner cooked and cleaning done. I feel really bad as a parent, and I'm wondering, will my children really be damaged because of all of this, and what can I do to manage my own anxiety? I literally had a number of conversations in the last few days with people with really similar experiences where they're working and there is that work pressure. So with the first lockdown, when COVID kind of kicked in, there was a lot of parents whose companies were really supportive and really, I suppose, open to giving them the space to try and manage things and giving them a bit of a break. And there's a lot of those companies now who are going, we don't care anymore, you just got to get your work done. And that's added a huge layer of stress onto parents, especially with there being lockdowns again all over Europe, and I think pretty much in a few places in the US as well, where there's lockdowns where students just aren't in school, and parents are having to manage home and keeping the home structured, manage school and keeping the school structure, and then the piece in the middle actually keep their job in order to pay the bills, because it's a very scary time. Because if we lose our jobs, well, is there something else going to come out? Will there be another job there for me to go to? So it's huge stress for so many parents. First thing I say is your children's mental health. I did see an article where there was talking about the damage being done behind the child's closed bedroom door because they may be isolated, and the challenge that this can have for children. And yes, it absolutely is a challenge, and it is something that we need to be mindful of. But there's also a piece in this where our children are more than likely going to be okay. But if they're not, if you've got a child who is struggling, get in touch with somebody. Get in touch with a professional. Check in with the school. Is there support the school can offer? Or does your child need to go and speak to a professional to get that extra layer of support? They may not. They may be just about okay. They may be managing it. You may be enough of a support to them. So what I'd say to you is, try and take that pressure off yourself that there's going to be this damage done that is not going to be able to be repaired, or that there's going to be huge major impacts long term on their lives. There may not be. There might be challenges for them. Well, there's going to be challenges for all of them, but there might be mental health challenges for them down the road. But the reality is, you worrying about it now, or feeling guilty about it now, for something that hasn't happened yet, is of no benefit to you. And I know you're not doing it on purpose. This lady is not writing this going, oh, I really want to think about all the bad things that could happen to my child, so I'm going to do that and feel really anxious. I know that's not the case, but sometimes we just have to bring back to going, is my child okay right now? Because if your child isn't okay in the future, you will deal with it then. You will get them the supports they need. And yes, it's not that we give up and go, well, look, we'll deal with whatever crap comes up when it comes up. You can still work to try and help them manage things in the here and now, but do that, because that's the practical thing that you can do right now. And putting your focus into the future, where your head is running away with itself and all the potential damaging things and challenges that your child might face in the future, they may not happen. So bring it back to now. What does my child need right now in order to do that? The other thing I'd say is, extra screen time is coming up over and over and over again for so many of the parents that I'm engaging with. It's okay if your child spends more time on a screen than they normally would, for the simple fact that they are confined to the four walls of your house. So they are not going out to school where they're getting to interact with their friends. They're not going out to their activities and their sports and whatever else. And maybe for some of them, they're not going out and spending time with their friends. The only upside of that is that this didn't happen 20 years ago, where if that was the case, you had literally no interaction with other people. But your children are living in a time where they're actually interacting with their friends maybe as much as they ever did, just not physically. And while, yes, there's social interaction, learning that they're missing out on, but everyone's missing out on it. And it will come back to a time where they will be with their friends. The reality is, there's a good chance that they could be back within the next month, in Ireland certainly. And they'll be back with their friends, learning the social cues, and that's all right. Okay, so their interactions with their friends will start back again, and they will start to engage with their friends. And if they're struggling with that, if they're struggling with the reintroduction back into school, back into, I suppose, normal society where they're engaging with their friends, you will get them support if they need it. Okay, you'll get them the support with a professional if they need it. And then we have the working. You're doing the best that you can. I completely understand the pressures that companies and organisations are putting on their employees to be on time, online, all the time. And there appears to be an expectation that you will be on for longer. and later than you normally would if you were going to the office. If you're struggling with it, can you have a conversation with your manager and say, look, this is the reality of things at home for me right now. I need some help. I need you guys to back me up. And this is how I see things working. So whether that's allowing you time off in the morning and you push that onto the evening, or if it's I'm turning off all my screens, my phone, everything at 6-7 p.m. so that I can spend time with my children and put them to bed, or can I have a block of time in the afternoon and then I'll make it up in the evening. Have those conversations. Now, they might go, no, sorry. And then you will deal with that, okay? And if that is the case, can you look at little moments of time in there to check in with your kids? Because they're not going to fall so far behind in school that they won't be able to catch up. Yes, if your child has got exams, state exams, it is exceptionally challenging. I have one here in my own house, right? It is exceptionally challenging for them. And all we can do is hope that the government will understand this and make allowances for it. But there are children who are, and young adults who are essentially teaching themselves the curriculum because they may not be getting the support that they actually need in order to understand it. That's not right, it's not fair, but all you can do is offer that support and say, what can I do? And maybe you need to get a tutor. Maybe you need to get in touch with the school and say, look, my child needs more support in order to pass the exams. But deal with the practicalities, because then that will help you to partially manage the stress and anxiety that you feel about it. But then the other thing I'd say is, I'm talking about your child if they need help and support to manage their mental health through this. If you do, get in touch with a professional. Okay, now that doesn't mean that you're going to have to go and speak to somebody for 10 years. Like, if you go and speak to a logosynthesis practitioner, you may only need a handful of sessions in order to reduce the anxiety levels that you have. So do that, okay? Get in touch with me. If you need that support, get in touch and we'll organise a few sessions, and we'll probably be able to get that stress level down. So you'll be able to manage things, and once the stress level is down, you have a clearer head, which makes you be able to think more clearly. So take those few different bits, put them into place, and try and get a structure going as best as you can. But your child, if they spend more time on screens, it's not the end of the world. Who knows, maybe your child will be the one who becomes a professional gamer and earns 10 million quid before they're 17. You never know. Have a look and see. Okay, second one for today. We are contemplating getting a dog. Our son and daughter have been begging us for years to get one, and as we both work, it just never really was practical. I've lost my job in the first lockdown, and my husband has been working from home. Our daughter asked for a puppy for Christmas, and my husband and I chatted about it, but felt it wasn't the right time. Our daughter was really upset, and the more I've been thinking about it, the more sense it makes right now. I have the time to put into looking after it, as there doesn't seem to be much hope of getting another job in the retail sector anytime soon. My husband is a bit concerned that it will just add more stress on me, and he heard someone from Dogs Trust on the radio a few months ago saying that they had a huge influx of dogs that people got during the lockdown and then couldn't look after for whatever reason. What do you think we should do? I think it makes sense now more than ever. I always find it interesting when people ask, what should we do? What should I do? We all have to make the best decision for ourselves in the moment. And I suppose there's a few things. Absolutely, I'm very aware of the challenges that Dogs Trust have said that they've found, because with the first lockdown, there was a lot of people looking for dogs. We had a major problem here in Ireland with the dogs getting stolen and sold on the black market, puppy farms and stuff like that. So there's been a huge increase in people looking for pets. And then the lockdown was over and people found that the dogs were lonely. The dogs were chewing the furniture. The dogs were unruly, but essentially they were just lonely Because if you think about it, a puppy or a dog has gone from having maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people around them during the day in a brand new home to boom, possibly none, possibly one, possibly two. And if a dog is misbehaving, very much like a child, there's a reason for it. So, and taking a puppy into your house is a huge amount of work. It is absolutely a lot of work. You have to give them the time. You have to look after them. You have to train them. It isn't fair on the dog otherwise. Okay, so there is a lot of challenges to bringing a puppy into your house. Look at your own stress levels. So if your husband is worried about your stress levels, well, are you generally stressed at the moment? What are the things that are stressing you out at the moment? Is it the fact that you're having to set your children up for online schooling? Is it the fact that you are out of work? Are the bills mounting up? Because having a pet adds an extra financial expense onto a household. So we'd love to say that that's not the case, but it's just not true. We've got a couple of dogs here, 2 guinea pigs. 2 guinea pigs cost as much as the dogs do, and they do nothing. Pointless, but dogs do add an extra expense. So that's something else. If those stresses are there, having a puppy who may be peeing and pooing and chewing and will need a lot of your attention and time may add that extra stress. So your husband may be right, but you may also be right. There has probably never been a better time in terms of you having the time to get a puppy to bring into the home and give them what they need in order to give them that space to grow within the home. Now, you will probably get all the promises in the world from your children, and I don't know what age your kids are, but we will take the dog for a walk 50 times a day, ma'am. We will clean up all the poo. We'll play with it 3 hours a day for you, no problem. And about 4 days in, you're going to be standing there, with a bag of poo in your hand, going, why am I the only one doing all this stuff with this dog? Don't bank on your children, probably not your husband, to be equal partners in bringing up the dogs. And dogs need to have one master, and you will most likely be that person. So sit down, look at the finances, look at the stresses that you have. What are they? And don't try and question, well, if the kids go back to school, then I'll have more time. We don't know. We're hopeful that the kids will go back to school in a month's time, maybe sooner, but we don't know. So if that's an extra stress that you wouldn't have the time to take a dog out for a pee or take it for a walk or train it, maybe wait and see what's the story with school, and then sit down with the family and say, look, if we are bringing a dog into this house, we need to pull our weight, all of us. They probably won't do it. Well, they do it for a bit, or they might do, bit by bit. But if you are aware that that's probably going to happen, okay, you can settle that within yourself. Doesn't mean you won't have your moments where you want to, kill everyone in the house, including the dog, but dogs do bring so much joy. But I absolutely love dogs, and I love the sitting down in the evening and the dog comes up and starts licking your face and plunking themselves on you, and it's lovely. And this may be the best time for you and your family to bring a dog into the house. And what I'd suggest is do your research, ring the likes of Dogs Trust, have the conversations with them. They will be, we got our last dog from Dogs Trust. They're fantastic at letting you know these are the types of behaviours this dog is going to have. These are the things you need to be looking out for. These are the requirements that you need. This is the rough kind of financial costs. All that, they'll be able to help you out. Well, hopefully they will. They're not too busy, but they'll be able to help you out in forming that decision. And then if you're going to do it, most important of all, if you're going to do it, commit to it. Okay, commit to it. Commit to the work. Even if you say to yourself, okay, I'm not going to have a paying job in the retail sector anytime soon, so this is going to be my job. I'm actually going to work my ass off and give this dog the time that it needs to make it feel part of the family and get settled, and that could take a few months. It is extremely challenging, so it might take time, but it will be worth it, because dogs are just the best. So I can't tell you what to do, but I hope that little chat will have given you a bit of a clearer picture on what you could do and probably what's the best way to explore it. Okay guys, thank you to everyone who's left comments. I hope you're all well. There's been so many of you, I can't even go through them. There's been so many. Thank you all so much. Take care of yourselves, and I will chat to you next time. Cheerio.